Hello there. Welcome to Love Good Lane. My name is Matthew. If this is your first time with us, come on in. I'm glad you're here. And if you've been here before, then you kind of know what to expect. Sometimes we get a little crazy in the kitchen, and sometimes we experiment, which I know a lot of people say we shouldn't do. But that's what we're going to do today. We're going to try out a recipe that I have not had before, so you can go on the journey with me, but I don't really see how it can be bad. I saw it online. It looked pretty tasty. It's certainly easy. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. It is crock pot creamy Parmesan chicken and potatoes. And as far as ingredients goes, what we've got here is 2 pounds of russet potatoes that I have peeled and chopped into, I don't know, 1.5 inch, 2 inch chunks. And then we have 2 pounds of chicken breasts that I have chopped into about 1 inch-ish pieces. We're going to need some water. Recipe says 1/2 cup, but I'm going to use a little less than 1/2 cup because it also says to use 1 cup of the creamy Parmesan sauce, and this is actually 12 ounces, so it's more than a cup, so I'm compensating. At any rate, we also will need some olive oil. We're going to need about a teaspoon of paprika, and then about 2 teaspoons each divided, because you'll see that we need to season separately, but total of 2 teaspoons each of salt and pepper. And I think that's about it. So let's get this going, because it does need to cook in the crock pot for about 3.5 to 4 hours if you're using the high setting. So I've got crock pot here. It didn't say to do this in the recipe, but I'm just going to give it a little spritz here with some nonstick cooking spray. Then into the crock pot, I'm going to put the 2 pounds of chopped up potatoes. And then with that, we need a few tablespoons of olive oil. After I mix this around, we can see if maybe we need a little more or if that's going to be okay. It might be okay, because actually 2 pounds of potatoes isn't a ton. That's fine. Now I'm going to add some seasonings to these potatoes. And what we're going to do is take about 1 teaspoon of the salt and pepper, sprinkle that on. Of course, we always want to season potatoes, because I love a potato, but it can be kind of bland if you don't do anything to it. And then this is the teaspoon of paprika. Goodness left in the bowl there. Okay, and now I'm going to give that a stir. Try to get each piece of potato evenly coated. That looks pretty good. Now, in this bowl, I have, it says to use about a cup of this sauce, and I'm going to use over a cup. This will actually be 1.5 cups, but then I'm going to reduce the water a little bit. But I don't think extra sauce is going to harm this dish. But at any rate, it called for the Buffalo Wild Wings Parmesan Garlic sauce. And I went to the store not knowing if I was going to find that brand, but I thought, I can probably find something similar. And sure enough, they actually had bottles of that same sauce that they mentioned in the recipe. There at the store. It was in the aisle at the store I was at. It was in the aisle with the other hot sauce and wing sauce and things like that. So I picked this up. We're gonna put this into a bowl. Maybe. Ooh, it's nice and creamy. We gotta shake, rattle, and roll to get it out of here. It's thinking about it. Sorry about the noise. I'm gonna tap a little bit. Okay, and now we're supposed to add half a cup of water. This is a little less than half a cup, but I'm actually gonna pour some of this in the bottle. We're gonna put the lid on and we're gonna give it a little shake to try to loosen up some of that sauce so we're not leaving a bunch of it in the bottle. But at the same time, I don't have all day to put the bottle upside down to get all the rest of that sauce out of there. So there's a little bit left on the side, but that's good. Okay, put the rest of the water in there. Give this a whisk. Just to get it loosened up a little bit. It smells really good. Because actually, this is Parmesan garlic, what does it say? An Italian herb. So there are some seasonings in here, which should make the chicken and those potatoes taste really good. Okay, so this is the 2 pounds of cut up chicken breast. I'm going to put that on top of the potatoes. I'm going to spread that out a little bit. And now we have the remaining, it was a little less than a teaspoon of salt and pepper. We're going to season the chicken with that. Like I said, it looked delicious in the video clip and the photos that I saw online for this recipe. But you never know, because I've tried some things from the internet and it was like, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great either. But this intrigued me. So we're trying it out. I mean, it can't get any easier than this. So we put the chicken in, we seasoned it with salt and pepper, and now we're going to take this sauce. Let's get the whisk out of there. We're going to pour this on. Get our lid on here. I know I don't really need to do this because it's mainly for transporting, but this is one of those crock pots that has the locking lid thing. We'll do it. Okay, so I'm going to get this going. I'm going to put it on high, and it's going to cook for about 3.5 to 4 hours. If you are in a situation where you need a little bit more cook time because you want to get it started when you leave for work, and then when you get home, it's ready, then I would recommend using frozen chicken breast. Obviously, you would want to cut them up and then freeze it. Like when you get it home from the store, cut it up and then freeze it. But if you put the chicken in frozen, that's going to buy you another hour or two. So you could probably get away with about 6 hours. But if you don't use the frozen chicken, but you do something like this with a recipe like this in the crock pot with chicken, it's going to be dried out if you do 5-6 hours or more. So that's just a little tip, something that may help you out. But I'm going to, like I said, get this going. And then we have a couple little steps to zhuzh it up, spruce it up at the very end before serving. So when we get to that point, I'll bring you back. Okay, friends, we're back. And I actually went to check our crock pot creamy Parmesan chicken and potatoes a little bit ago. And I was disappointed to find that the potatoes were not cooked as much as I would have liked. So, and that was after, let's see, that was after 4 hours. So I gave them a stir and I let them cook more in the crock pot. Another half an hour. And so here we are. I am now going to add in a half cup of grated Parmesan. Let's stay in frame there, huh? I am not sure that that extra time is going to make as big of a difference as I would have liked. But, oh, can I get my bag open? Maybe. There we go. Sprinkling on some shredded mozzarella. Grandma! Oh, we've got a visitor. It's a video. Yeah. We're going to let this melt for another 20 minutes or so. But I think in hindsight, I could have done two things. One is used my other crock pot, which tends to run kind of hot. So that would have helped things. And also I could have cut the potatoes into smaller pieces. But I'm going to let this melt and let it go for a while and we'll bring you back. All right, we're back again. I ultimately let the chicken and potatoes cook in the crock pot on high for another 45 minutes, actually closer to 50 minutes, and the potatoes are still not as tender as I would like them, but that's the way it's going to be. It is what it is, because it's time for dinner, and I got some hungry folks. It does smell good, and it looks good. Let's dish some up here. Chicken is definitely done. Right. Let me get a fork. I want to do a little taste. The chicken is nice and tender. Get a little piece of both. I do have some chopped parsley here that I'm going to sprinkle on for serving. I like parsley. It has a nice bright quality to it, and it'll give a nice green color. But anyway, let me taste. Mm. The flavor is very good. And actually, that piece of potato was nicely done. I wouldn't want it anymore because then it'd be mushy. So maybe we ended up being okay with our potatoes. But serve it. And see, oop, I dripped. Dripsies. There we go. So I'm anxious for you to give this a try. It's super simple. I should have known to use my crock pot that runs hot. This one is a nice crock pot, but I think it's just kind of normal. But just be aware of that in the cooking time. Don't worry about trying to make notes or write this down. I'll put the recipe in the description box below. Give this recipe, well, that too. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed cooking with me today, and subscribe if you haven't already. It does help out my channel, and I appreciate that. I hope you have a great day. Leave me any comments or questions that you might have. I'd love to hear from you below here in the comments. And until next time, we'll see you later. Thanks. Bye-bye.